Man is the puzzle. He can create and he can destroy. Man is the dreamer. He can extend himself through his own inventiveness. Man is the visionary. The extent of his visions is limitless.
To everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under the heaven. A time to be born, and a time to die. Between those points, man seeks pleasure during his time upon the earth. What is pleasure? What things, activities, states of mind give us pleasure? Where do we find it, and how? What was the first pleasure? Hunger-fed, cold to warm, wet to dry, a physical pleasure, an animal pleasure shared with colt and cat. As soon as we can crawl, we seek pleasure. Once stroked, a cat asks to be stroked again. A child demands attention as persistently as food. People want not only to be acknowledged, but admired. They want to run faster than Jack, jump higher than Jill. In youth, the body is the prime source of pleasure. When the body wearies, we extend it by objects. If we can't run faster, we can't run. At some time in life, the world beckons like a land of dreams. Who has not felt that urge to be free, to explore, to find more and varied extensions of existence? Some think work is the job, pleasure the play. Others compress time and existence through the extension of work. We know the body's capacity, but the mind's potential is hazy, and so we often test mind and body in uncertain competition, fragmenting ourselves from other pleasures yet undreamed, a pleasure no animal can share, the pleasure of commenting upon having lived. Consider the technique of photography. From a piece of film, a negative, we can reproduce a glimpse of life. But with life itself, the process is often reversed, and we glimpse life darkly, in fewer ways, afraid to comment, believing that only a special breed of human being does that. What is an artist? Someone who paints for museums, who starves in order to create? A freak? In that case, we are all potential freaks. Watch a potter shaping clay. His hands are busy, but his mind busier. He is not copying a model while his mind remembers last night's bowling or this night's beer. His mind assesses, commands, extends in that lifeless material, clay, what he envisions. "1,500 years ago, another potter in pre-Columbian Peru extended his own kind of vision in these portrait comments upon his neighbors, perhaps his boss. Note the range of color, ochre. He decorated with what he had or could afford. In his earthy world, he also extended in clay the idea of immortality, as in these fertility figures 5,000 years old. The artist in us wants to comment and for the comment to endure. But clay, like life, is fragile. A comment, a vision, may chip or break. So men painted, glazed, and fired it. Why? To extend its usefulness, but also to preserve the vision. We want to leave our mark, and we want our mark to last. Vanity, perhaps, but human. Here is clay transformed, porcelain. Hundreds of years ago, a Chinese artist, like the Peruvian potter, took pleasure portraying people. But his vision is of an aristocratic world. No jeers, no sly jokes here. The bodies are graceful, stylized, patterned, no ochre. White and blue are the dominant colors, a white the natural world rarely produces, a color that nature soils. And that blue, the ocean and sky. Man's vision has widened. What is eternal? In search of something that could outlast him, man extended his vision through stone. Sculpture sometimes suggests complex and centralized, if not autocratic, civilizations. Because the stone must be quarried and hauled to the studio, and the sculptor must be fed while he chips and chisels civic homage to the gods or someone's bid for immortality. But even stone has its own fragility and does not last. It is not always in stone. We have learned to extract metal and shape it to our purpose. The sheen of metal can suggest strength without the bulkiness of stone. A metal's colors change with light and with time. So metal can embody a vision, not of the absence of time, but the illusion of endurance despite change. A modern material embodies a modern conception. The mind saw, forced the eye to see, commanded the hand to shape. Wood as a creative medium must have been used early. It is common, easily worked, easily transported, also easily destroyed. Still, enough has survived from early times for us to see its range. It is a favorite material for folk art. Wood has also been used to boast of our lineage, the might of our ancestors and our own. For centuries, people have painted walls and ceilings. This fresco dates from the 13th to the early 14th century, the time of Marco Polo's voyages and the great Khans of China. Frescoes such as this were commissions from palace or pope, walls and ceilings to which the artist had to travel. Between commissions, he painted on wooden panels, smoothed and sized. He could sell these to humbler patrons, to parish churches, princes, guilds, painting the subjects he wanted to paint and thought he could sell. Since the panels were easily transported, collections of paintings began. Here, pleasure, work, and profit merge with the vision. The paint color, the pigment, was usually mixed with water, then egg yolk or glue added to bind the mixture. But water-based colors are soft, dull, hazy. And so painters began to mix the pigment with a fast-drying oil. Oil-based colors shine, so jewelry, velvets, richness could be emphasized. At about the time Columbus discovered America, painters began to use the glowing colors on canvas. But the surface of canvas is not smooth like wood. It is rough, and so reflects another extension of life. Color and texture alone were not enough to satisfy man's desire to fully describe his world. He had to breathe life into that flat, rough canvas. So, with perspective, his canvas could glow with the illusion of depth and change the way we look at the earth and its people. Perspective is still not used in some pictures. In icons, the sacred pictures of the Eastern Orthodox churches, the figures, the poses, the symbols are decreed by ecclesiastical law, as in this one, painted as icons have been for centuries. An Eastern artist must paint Saint and Virgin as decreed. A Western artist can paint the Madonna he imagines. An official idea, legislated and enforced, stresses workmanship rather than creativity. When we comment upon our world through a material detached from us, we can touch or see the extension of mind and body. But the dancer's movements, the music's harmony, the sound of words are transitory. When they cease, no trace remains. Dance is the physical extension of time and existence, of thought and feeling through the body itself. The idea of dance, a pattern of motion, is inborn. The arms swing in rhythm as we walk, the legs march in cadence. It is the nearest of the arts to pure physical pleasure. Few people have not danced. In our primal existence, we could express through the ritual of dance a thought or feeling which no word existed to name. A pattern of sound is natural for man to grasp. To reproduce the sounds man has heard or imagined, we have used the most diverse materials of any art. The ancients believed that the 7 planets which they knew each hummed a different note as it moved about the sky, forming a celestial harmony which only the pure at heart were privileged to hear. Playing an instrument is a pleasure, so many do, but playing an instrument with others is an added pleasure. 3,000 years ago, someone chiseled music symbols on this stone. The person wanted to fix his idea and so inscribed what he could. But we can't play it. Even if we knew what scale he had in mind, we would not know how long to hold each note. And so the melody he imagined and sang was buried with him. Eventually, in the West, the Church's desire to regulate the music of the Mass and its power to enforce its will spurred the development of a music script, which, centuries later, would enable others to inscribe that elusive pattern of sound to paper exactly as they wanted, and so transcend, through music, their own temporal mortality. From his beginnings, man was an alien. To other living creatures, nature gave the tools for survival and the instinct for using them. Against man's nakedness, she gave a mind, a will, an inventive spirit, and thus the possibility of extension and comment upon existence. Through written language, man could give permanence to the patterns of sound, symbol, and movement. Without some means of writing, his speculations of the gods, his comprehension of events, and his observations of the earth and sky would not have been preserved and transmitted to others after him. The art of expressing ourselves in words is called, after the system of writing them, literature, or the letters of the alphabet. Only once in the history of mankind has the idea of the alphabet crystallized on the edge of the Mediterranean. All alphabets stem from that original. how did it happen? It began with pictures of things. By conventional signs, crude messages could be transmitted. With time, the picture writing became elaborate, formalized, recording the triumphs of pharaohs, the accounts of merchants, the exploits of wanderers, the might of emperors, and the noblest aspirations of man's vision. It is a rare person in our civilization who has not expressed himself in writing. We know the value of writing. We know how it can transmit sound and sense to any isolated point in the world and continue to transmit as long as knowledge of language lasts. Through writing, we can command an audience unrestricted by time or space. Who then, willingly, would deny himself such power or such magic? 100 years ago, along a similar shore, a poet, commenting upon his own time, wrote words in which we still find meaning and therefore beauty.
The sea is calm tonight. The tide is full. The moon lies fair upon the straits. On the French coast, the light gleams and is gone. The cliffs of England stand glimmering and vast out in the tranquil bay. Come to the window. Sweet is the night air. Only from the long line of spray where the sea meets the moon-blanched land, listen. You hear the grating roar of pebbles, which the waves draw back and fling at their return up the high strand. Begin and cease, and then again begin with tremulous cadence slow, and bring the eternal note of sadness in. Sophocles, long ago, heard it on the Aegean, and it brought into his mind the turbid ebb and flow of human misery. We find also in the sound a thought, hearing it by this distant northern sea. The sea of faith was once too at the full, and round earth's shore lay like the folds of a bright girdle furled. But now I only hear its melancholy, long, withdrawing roar, retreating to the breath of the night wind down the vast edges, drear and naked shingles of the world. Our love, let us be true to one another. For the world, which seems to lie before us like a land of dreams, so various, so beautiful, so new, hath really neither joy, nor love, nor light, nor certitude, nor peace, nor help for pain. And we are here, as on a darkling plain swept with confused alarms of struggle and flight, where ignorant armies clash by night.
No matter what we create, no matter whether what we create affects by sight or sound, or a combination of the two, affecting few or many, that creation is an assertion of our humanity, our way of etching on air a miracle that works, a miracle no animal can share, a miracle that is ours alone.